بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد. The topic that was carrying on our discussion was on generosity, spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Concerning that, generosity is the opposite of stinginess, miserliness. When a person is miser, is stingy, then he can't spend for himself also, he won't spend for anybody else also. So here, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained to us that we must have generosity within ourselves. In other words, don't get attached too much to the luxuries of the world. Whatever we have got within ourselves, it's all given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we can understand that when Allah has given us everything, now to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what's difficult in that now? So it's whatever Allah has given to us, now there's responsibilities attached to it, never to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we must fulfill and discharge that responsibility which Allah ta'ala has given to us. You find a person will work hard in difficult conditions and he will earn something. And at the same time you'll find some people don't work very hard and earn something also. And some people, they got degrees within themselves, and whether because of the degrees, they work physically, they work very little, but mentally they work more. And according to that, they get something in return they get. And some people find that they got physical power more, but physical power and strength, they work and achieve the sustenance that they achieve. So this is the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the same time, Allah Ta'ala gives rosy and sustenance to whom He pleases and how much He pleases. Allah gives. Sometimes you find a person has got a lot of degrees he's got, but he's got no work, he's got no money, he's got nothing with him. And the person is an ordinary person, so has not so educated, but he's more wealthy than him also. So just distribution of wealth is the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How Allah Ta'ala distributes wealth, that is in His wisdom and why He distributes wealth. Sometimes you find a person looks to be a very poor person. He's a farmer, for example, but he's more wealthy than a businessman also. So this distribution of wealth is in the discretion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whoever Allah wishes, He gives them the wealth according to His discretion. He gives wealth. But at the same time, it is our responsibility, after the wealth comes into our possession, now whichever the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attached to it, the guidance what Allah Ta'ala has given to us, go to abide to the guidelines of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the hadith we discussed yesterday also, last night, where the four types of people, or four categories of people there are. From there you'll find one category of the people are those people that Allah Ta'ala has given them knowledge also, and Allah has given them wealth also at the same time. So they acquire the wealth according to the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they spend that wealth also according to the law and guidelines of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the same time, another person will find that the person has got knowledge, but has got no wealth. But this person has got no wealth, he thinks to himself, if I had wealth like this person, I would spend like him in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what Allah Ta'ala, what Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, that this person will be equal in reward to the person who's got wealth also and has got knowledge also. In other words, our intention alone, a good intention we have within ourselves, that intention also is worthy to be recognized. That intention alone also is worthy to be rewarded for that also. In other words, we don't lose anything in making good intentions. But at the same time, when we make good intention, and we are promising to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if you falter in that, Allah Ta'ala knows what is in your heart, what is your promises. So you cannot say you make a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make a false promise or falter. That is something most disrespectful towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and will be taken task by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it shows that whatever intention we make, we got to fulfill that intention, promise to make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the world, we might use flowery words and deceive people in the world and take out whatever work you want to take out. But remember at the same time, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like that. We can't deceive Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make a promise and go against a promise, Allah Ta'ala knows about it. according to, amongst our people, man, whatever it is, much talk flowery words to a person and put him into your confidence and speak lies also and get work done. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you cannot do that. Allah ta'ala knows what is in heart, what you have done. So you cannot deceive Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any way. So whatever good intention you make, then make an intention to fulfill that good intention, and your sincere intention, Allah ta'ala will reward according to your sincerity which you make in your intention. At the same time, we find another aspect of our life is to make dua. When we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we must be generous in making dua also. Why restrict ourselves to dua also? Normally a person makes dua for himself, for his family, for his children, make dua also. What about the Ummah of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? When Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam spent so much time crying for the Ummah, making dua for the Ummah, and we don't follow that the Sunnah of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We restrict dua for ourselves, as we think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala haven't now got so much in store by him to accept dua for everybody else. It's not like make dua for everybody, make dua for the whole Ummah must make dua. We don't lose anything by making dua for the Ummah. So we have to make dua for ourselves also, and we have to make dua for the Ummah also at the same time. Those people who associate with our friends, we're going to make dua for them also, we're going to make dua. So when we make dua, include everybody in our dua, because it comes in the hadith also that when we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for somebody else, then a farishta comes, an angel comes and say, whatever is made dua for another person, Allah give it also the same thing. So now you making dua for somebody else, but in return, a farishta who is pure from all types of sins and all types of evil and wrongs, and he's making dua for you. How fortunate are you now? So it shows that when you make dua for somebody else, then Allah will accept your and make the farishta make dua for you also, which will definitely accepted in your favor. It is accepted. And also comes the hadith, when you make dua for somebody in absence, then the dua is accepted also in other. So the dua is connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Molana Wasiullah Sahab al-Habadi rahmatullah alayhi, one person came to him and told Hazrat, make dua for me. Hazrat was so happy, he made so much dua for him and telling you are my well-wisher. Hazrat said, I already asked you to make dua for me. So dua means to connect yourself with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I was detached from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a little while. Now you reminded me to connect myself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why you are my well-wisher. So dua is something which a person is connected with our Creator, is connected. So you shouldn't stay away from dua. That's why we find in the hadith from Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, small things make dua for people. Allah have mercy on you, Allah forgive you, and our elders also will find in their life also, on small things they make dua for one another. All the teaching of Islam, if somebody gives you something, say Jazakumullah. What is that? It's also dua for. So every small thing that make a dua for the next person. So after making a wuzu, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you go to the toilet, come out of make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everything there is the dua mentioned in hadith, which shows the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes strong by making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more intention we make, according to that we are going to be rewarded. So that intention has got a very high position in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here is mentioned that Haj Farooq Sahab rahmatullah alayhi, who was the Khalifa of the Molana Mustakim Songadhwala rahmatullah alayhi, that he says that there was one Khalifa was Hanif rahmatullah alayhi in Dhaka, in Bangladesh. His name was Hafiz Hujur, to call him. And she did a lot of work in Bangladesh, he did. The same, he said that once he called him to him, and he went there to meet him, and said, I made an intention to open up 75,000 makatib in the poor areas, where the less accessibility in those places now. I got an intention to open up 75,000 makatib. Imagine what the great intention he had within himself. So, but when he passed away, he only managed to open 15,000 makatib only. So when he passed away, was making intention of 75,000, and only opened up 15,000, but the sawab he got for 75,000 was already. So he had such great aspiration within himself. So Allah Ta'ala accept the intention of his now. So the more better intention we make, or with sincerity, Allah will accept that and Allah will reward us. According to that, Allah will reward us. So at the same time, we should try and think and ponder that when we came to the world, how we came in the world. We came with nothing in the world. We came naked in the world. And we're going to leave the world. How are we going to leave the world? With nothing going to leave. There will be no progress in our kafan. We can take something with us in the grave. So we came with nothing in the world, and we're going to leave the world also without anything. So in between, what happens? The shaitan disturbs us and spoils our intention. الشيطان يعيدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء. What the shaitan does? He puts a fear into you that you get very poor. You need something in future. How are you going to get something in future? So the fear he put in you, because of that, the person becomes stingy now. He doesn't become generous now. So don't fall into the deception of the shaitan. And that when time and the opportunity for us to take part in some good project, whatever it is, then take part in it. Don't stay behind in there, because then after shaitan put the fear that now you'll get stingy now, you'll get poor, you won't have anything within yourself, and the stingy is coming within yourself. Don't give yourself to the thoughts of the shaitan. When you look at it and analyze our lives, we see a situation around us, you find in the masjid people build, in the world people build masjid also, they build madrasas also, they build hospitals also, and find people doing work where they help the poor also, the needy also, the orphans also, everybody find this type of thing carrying on in the world. And all things happen. It doesn't mean that if we are not going to take part in this project, that work will never get done. So many masjids are being built in the world, we never take part, but we were built. Okay? So many hospitals are being built, and we never take part, but the hospitals are in operation to help the poor people are benefiting from there. So it doesn't mean only if we are going to help that the project will come to realization. It's not that. So it shows that the good things come about, a lot of things about whatever it is. But it is for us, if we take part in it, whatever little part we take in it, then we are fortunate that we are part of the Sahab in that project. That's why our Hazrat Sahab his effort was, whenever she go anywhere, when there's any project could take place, no matter what, she take 50 rupees or 100 rupees, whatever, she put something she put inside it. That will take this much of my contribution to this good work it is. So wherever you find opportunity taking part in some good work, according to your capacity, according to your capability, whatever Allah has given you, take part. According to that, you take part. That's why you find at once, and Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told the Sahaba to bring collecting for the wars, collecting some money. But making a donation, asking for donation from people. And the people brought whatever they had, they brought to Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. At that time, Umar Radiallahu Anhu had a lot of wealth at the time. So he thought, let me take half my wealth, and that's Abu Bakr, I haven't got so much today, so I'll beat him and take part in good work, in other words. So he brought a half wealth to give to Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nabi Karim Sallallahu asked him, how much did you bring? He said, I brought half my wealth. Then after Abu Bakr Radiallahu Anhu came, and he brought wealth that was much less than him. So Nabi Karim asked Abu Bakr, how much did you bring? How much did you leave for wife and children? Say, I brought all whatever I had, I left nothing for them. So it shows that Umar brought 50% and Abu Bakr brought 100% he brought. So he took part in that much. Whatever the situation was, he took part according to the situation. It shows how important it is that whatever is in our capacity, take so much part in good work, whether it can be 10 rands or 5 rands, whatever it is. But according to your capacity, you take that part with sincerity, that is more like by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sincerity is more accepted than anything else. So Allah ta'ala in his Allah ta'ala has got treasures for everything, and from the treasures Allah ta'ala distributes among everybody. So recently, if not make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people will not get anything. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala is fulfilling your needs, Allah will fulfill the next person's needs also in the same manner. Allah ta'ala, the treasures will not get less by fulfilling needs of the whole creation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala today is looking after the whole creation, The creation will find big animals also, you find, who eat more than human beings. Big fish you will find in the sea, which more than human beings also, but Allah look after them also, Allah feed them also. So how can we so miser and stingy in making dua for ourselves or for the Ummah of Nabi Karim Sallallahu and for humanity at large, in other words. So in other words, what does it mean? That stinginess we got within our heart, the restriction we got within our hearts, must try and get rid of a restriction within our hearts. That don't think that if we are not going to give anything, the good work will never take place. It's not that. But if we take part in some good work, it's our fortunate. If we are fortunate that Allah Ta'ala has accepted us to take part in the good work, whatever it is. And we'll find something, Shaitan put doubts in the person's mind that if you're going to give something in the path of Allah, you're going to get, you're going to get poor, in other words. You won't have anything left with you. So this is the fear of poverty. The Shaitan put the fear of poverty in the person. We should stay away from that. See, those people who take part in good work, for example, you'll find some people they donate huge amount of money for some project, for example, for a masjid project, or for a madrasa project, or for a hospital project, whatever it is. They donate a huge amount of money. What are the children roaming on the street and begging for something? It's not that. The more you want to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more Allah is going to give you in return. Allah is going to give you. And just from experience, we'll find the people who take part in good work, they'll tell you the experiences that we spent so much in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah bless us so much more with it. I find the story for that Rabia Basir that she also was a very pious lady. She was. And she was making ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One day there was no food in the house. And the servant said, there's no food enough. She said, no, make dua to Allah and send something. So somebody came with 2 rotis. She said, no, give it back. We don't need this roti. Then somebody came with 5 rotis. She said, give it back also. And he came with 10 rotis. She took the 10 rotis. So the servant asked her that why did you accept this 10 rotis and not the 2 and 5 rotis? She said, because when the house had only 1 roti in our house, and the beggar came to the door, we gave that 1 roti to the beggar, give it to her. And it comes the hadith, give 1 in the path of Allah, Allah give you 10 for it. When 2 came, I said, it's not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah's promise cannot be wrong. When 5 came, it wasn't from Allah. Allah's promise is for 10 for 1. So when the 10 rules came, this from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted it. So when we have this yaqeen within ourselves, then that's how Allah will reward us also according to that. Big things. Just like comes in the hadith also, then in the morning, there is one farishta, angels, that make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah give barakat to the people spending the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine a farishta making dua for us. How fortunate honor we then. So the more we spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, generous we become, Allah ta'ala bless us more with His ni'mats. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very kind. Allah ta'ala is very merciful also. And Allah ta'ala looks after our needs before we know our needs also. So normally what we do when we give somebody something, we wait for the return, cash in other words, immediately want return for it. So that doubt, sometimes doubt comes to the person's mind that we are spending the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what are you going to get in return? They say the return will get in Jannat, and Akhirah will get Jannat in return. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so kind, so merciful, He will give you, He's going to give you a return in Jannat, but at the same time in the world also Allah will give you return also. That's why these wealthy people spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are always spending and still Allah is giving them more and more, Allah is giving them. Like we find in Saudi, there is one fast food outlet called Al-Baik. The owner of that business, they interviewed him, asked him, how did the business flourish so much and making such a huge amount of profits? He said, well, when I started that business, I made the intention and the promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So from every real, I give so much money for as sadaqah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So because of that, he said, I kept up to my promise that as my business increased, according to that ratio, I started giving the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why my business increased so much. So once we make a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you could keep up with the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter how difficult it can be on the person, you keep up with the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will bless you according to that. And normally, a person goes under a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you overcome the test, then everything opens up for you. It comes, it's been said that when Allah ta'ala tests somebody, at that time you are patient and the test of Allah put you under, then that is as by the test from Allah, the difficulty that comes upon a person, the test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the difficulty come on the person, and start complaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and have bad thoughts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that becomes a punishment on the person. So whenever any halat come on us, any condition come upon us, then must judge and see that if we are happy with the conditions upon us, then that is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will overcome the test very soon, and things open up after that. But if we complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being nashuk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that becomes a punishment, azab upon us. So whenever you spend the path of Allah ta'ala, and the thought comes to you that now you become very poor, you don't have anything for the future, whatever it is, then think this is from the shaitan and try and overcome this. And if you look at the incident of Hazrat Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu, how much he spent in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how much Allah blessed him according to that also. One Sahabi came to Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he wanted some help. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was, whenever he had anything, you give it to them. But he didn't have anything, tell him, go to a certain Sahabi, go there and the need will get fulfilled. So the Sahabi came and he wanted some help. So he told him, go to Usman radiallahu anhu, ask for him to give you some help. When he went to the house of Usman radiallahu anhu, before by the door, he heard some argument taking place in the house. So he went close to listen what the argument all about. He found the argument was that the lamp at night, the string of the lamp, the wick was made about too high. So Usman was reprimanding his wife to lower the wick of the lamp. So this is called israf, it's called extravagance, for not using the light at night. So he thought to himself, now just imagine, for one little wick, the light for the wick, Hazrat Usman is getting upset on his wife, so where was he going to give me anything? It doesn't look like he's going to give me anything. And that also, who was his wife? The daughter of Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So he came away from there. After a few days, asked me to go to Usman. So the Sahab was very sincere. He said, I went there, but I saw this happen there. So I thought to myself, he's so strict on his wife. It was other is so stingy. He doesn't have to spend that little bit of money to put the wick up a little bit. He's going to give me money. So Nabi said, no, go to him. So he went again to him now. He said that Nabi Karim to send me to fulfill my needs, can help me out. He gave more than what I asked for. He was very surprised that how can you give more than what I. So I asked him, why did you give more than what I needed? Then last time I just was transferred at night in home. So Usman told him that you don't understand the reality. Reality is that whatever wealth we got belongs to we think it belongs to Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Where Nabi sometimes we spend openly, open heart we spend. When Nabi stop us to spend, we don't spend it all. We don't spend 1 cent also. We won't spend. The criteria is that actually. So where there is israf, we don't spend. Where there is extravagance, we don't spend there. And where the need is, we spend there. So when Usman spent so much, he never got poor and went to the street and beg anybody, but Allah reward even more also. At the same time, Hazrat Abdullah bin Auf also, he was a wealthy person also. So all those wealthy people from the Sahaba Kiram or after the Sahaba Kiram till now in the world, you find all these wealthy people to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah always looked after them. Allah always cared for them. And but the condition was, it must be halal, always must be. And when Hazrat Zubair radiallahu anhu passed away, Hazrat Abdullah bin Auf radiallahu anhu says that he left so much wealth behind that he used the axe to cut the gold to make it into pieces to give everybody their shares. Imagine now, he spent so much, so famous for his generosity. When he left so much behind also at the same time. For spending so much in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he never get poor. Allah gives so much more, Allah gave him. So we could understand where the need is, we got to help there, then that is which is required from us. Like find wherever there is a well, the more water we take out from the well, the more water comes into the well again after that. And if you don't take out water from a well for a long time, then the well dries up after it. Same thing, but when Allah has given us some ni'mat, you spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ni'mat increases more and more. When you stop, then the ni'mat also stops after that. And another hadith says, Abu Hurairah from Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, a person who gives only one khajur, one date, in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is acquired in a halal manner, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets so happy with it that Allah takes in his right hand and accepts it in other words. And Allah Ta'ala increases his never on that person, is not on the person. Like how a person looks after the fawn of a horse, or look after the calf of the cow. So in other one small date, piece of date, a person who gives in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Ta'ala is very happy with it, but the condition is what? That one date must be halal also. That the date is haram, then you won't get the benefit. That one date, so small one date, you give part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is halal completely, then for that to get so much of reward of it, that is more than the mountains also, in other words. So Allah Ta'ala will only accept which is halal. Allah Ta'ala doesn't accept that which is haram, in other words. Nowadays you find people that they earn a lot of money through haram ways. And what is after that, what they say? We spend some money on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this little money we spend will purify all our wealth. This is deception of the shaitan. A little haram money going to take part in halal avenues. There's no one to make money halal for you. There's no one to make earning halal for you. But in fact, you won't be rewarded for that also. So to earn money in a haram way and use it in a halal manner, you won't be rewarded for that at all. So whoever got this concept in mind, that's completely wrong notion. Hazrat Sufyan Sawri rahmatullahi was a very great muhaddis and a faqih also. Concerning this topic, what he would say, the person who earns in a haram manner and want to spend in a halal manner is like a person who's got a dirty cloth. Napa cloth is what he would wash with urine now. How can you clean the napa cloth with urine? Urine itself is napa. You cannot clean it with that. So Allah Ta'ala only accepts that which is pure and clean. Allah Ta'ala accepts. For example, look at ourselves. If somebody come and give you some present, and after you come to know that this present what he gave it to you was stolen goods, for example, or something of interest, whatever it is, what will you do now? You won't accept this. No, I can't take the dirty wealth. I can't accept it. Return it. Give back to somebody else. You won't accept it. Your self-respect don't allow you to do that. So keep this in mind. Your self-respect don't allow you to take something wrong for yourself. How will Allah accept which is haram, in other words? So here, when you see the one date earned in halal manner and given a set kind in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Ta'ala gets so happy that the sawab of that is equal to a mountain given the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine, this is why? Because it is halal. And Allah Ta'ala takes in his hands and accepts it. In other words, once Allah Ta'ala accepts in his hand, it means definitely accepted already now. So halal earnings, we have been encouraged to have halal earnings and then spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here, there is some explained here that the person spends the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah increases that wealth, like how you attend to the fawn of the horse or the calf of the cow, means that normally these animals, they grow very fast, very quickly grow, and they become very strong after that and start benefiting the person after that. So here it means that when we created one khadur is going to give the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that one khadur will grow so much and so fast will grow like the animal grows so fast. So in other words, what Nabi Karim is drawing our attention to, even the small little thing also which is insignificant in people's eyes, if you give that in the path of Allah Ta'ala with sincerity and which is halal, Allah Ta'ala got a lot of value for that also. Don't think the small thing giving the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how will it be accepted? It's not that. The small thing with sincerity is much more better than somebody giving a huge amount of money without sincerity. As Abu Hurairah narrates from Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said there's one person who was in the jungle, and from there he saw one cloud upon in the sky he saw, and from the cloud he heard one sound coming that go into a certain person's field and go and rain there. So we saw one part of the cloud got separated from the huge cloud and started going in that direction. So he followed this cloud, and the cloud came in one place where there was a rocky area. It's a rain on the rocky area, and from there the rain got collected in one place, and from there was a small stream going out from there. So water was going on in the stream. So I followed the stream, I went further, I saw there was one person in his field who was diverting the stream into his own farm and irrigating his orchard. When he saw this, he made salam to that person and asked him about what is your name. So the person told him his name, and when told him his name, then asked him why you ask my name. He said, because when I was at a certain place, I heard your name in the clouds, and that cloud came from there and rained here, and that water came into your orchard. So you were diverting the water into your orchard. So that's why I came to see now who are you. But the name I heard in the cloud was the same name you are telling me. That's why I came to ask what is your name. When this was confirmed now what he heard in the clouds or whatever it is, so now this person told him that let me tell you what is my situation also at the same time now. So he said that I farm and I do my farming whatever it is, and from the produce I get from my farm, I make it into three parts. One part I use for myself and for my children. And one part I give as a sadaqah to the poor people I give. And one part I keep it behind to reinvest into my farm afterwards. This is my strategy how I work. So Allah Ta'ala liked the strategy so much of his for helping the poor people and looking after the responsibility of his family, the children also, and to reinvest and look after his farming business also, in other words. So this Allah Ta'ala accepts so much that Allah Ta'ala should irrigate his farm compared to all other people's farms. To show when you have just love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah helps also in that manner. Allah helps the person also. So thus we find in the Quran also where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the incident of Hazrat Dawud alayhi salatu wasalam. So Dawud alayhi salam was a Nabi, and he was a king also, so ruler of the area also at the same time. And what was his habit? His habit was to make muhasabah of himself always, to look after himself, doing the right thing or not doing the right thing. For the result, you go and meet the people in the town and ask them, do you know Dawud? They say, yeah, we know him. So how is he? What type of a person he is? He is a very good person. He does decision with justice, he does decision with justice he does, and doesn't oppress anybody, and all are very happy with him. So nobody spoke bad of him, ill of him in any way, because he was a Nabi. And so he was very worried that I must have some fault with him myself. I don't know, people are not telling me the fault. So all these other people in the daytime and the night time, she take out change his clothing and other people. He never get in, and nobody ever spoke bad of him. But one day, when he first saw two new people in the town, so these people don't know me at all. Let me ask them now. So when I asked them, how is Dawud? You know Dawud? He said, you know Dawud, how is he? He says he's a very good person. He's got a lot of good qualities within himself, everything. But there's one thing short in him. He said. If he does that, then the quality will increase more and more. So what is that now? So that he, to fulfill his needs, daily needs, he takes allowance from the Baitul Mal, from the treasury he takes. He can work on his own, with his own hands and his own roads, he can get sustenance acquire. That will much more better, and his goodness will increase more because of that. So Dawud, when he heard this, immediately he went and he dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to show me such a trait, teach me such a trait, I wish I can earn my own living and look after myself and my family. So Allah Ta'ala accepted the dua of Dawud alayhi salatu wasalam, and Allah Ta'ala gave him the miracle that the steel should come in his hand, should come like wax. He could bend it and mold it in any way, he could mold the steel. So that was the miracle Allah gave Dawud alayhi salam because of the dua he made to us. And with that now Allah Ta'ala gave him the knowledge also now how to make armor. In the olden days when you go to fight, you wear armor to go and fight. So Allah taught how to make armor also. And he was so precise in molding the steel that every circle was made according to the size, and when you join it together, should fit on the body perfectly. That's why people should try and buy his armor, because it should fit was perfect on the body. And so here we see from here, a Nabi taught us how to do trade also, in other words, how to invent also, to inventive also. As Muslims, you can understand, we got to be inventive also at the same time, and we will know how to do our own. In other words, some Ambiya Islam did farming and agriculture, and some you find they did industry, in other words. And Allah Ta'ala's system was such that whatever human being needs for the needs of human being is to live a comfortable life, Allah Ta'ala taught the Nabi how to teach to humanity what to do. Example, you find to build a ship, Allah taught us no Islam how to build a ship. How to use a ship on water and to make trade, move around and do things. Allah taught us no Islam. Same way, Islam Allah taught how to sew, for example. How to make a needle and how to sew things and how to clothes to cover the body. In that way, you find every Nabi brought something taught humanity. And from there, people progressed on that and made more effort on that, and invented new things too for our comfort. So they also have the Dawud al-Islam taught us how to make armor, how to safeguard yourself when you go for war. And his habit was to make one armor every day. And if you sell that one armor, and what money you get from the one armor should be split into 3 parts. One part is used for himself and his family, and his relatives, and 2 parts he should give out in sadaqah you give out. So that was his strategy or his business he should do. So from there we learn how to strategize our business also, in other words. That we could do, and at the same time, what he taught us, what is the time management also he taught us now. He never spent the whole time only in business only. He spent so much time how much was needed for him. He made one armor a day, he sold it, and he looked to his needs, and looked to the needs of the poor people also. In other words, he also took the benefit of giving sadaqah and taking the virtue of sadaqah also, in other words. Although he was a king, he could do anything he could do. He had permission to do everything, but he had to work for his own self and earn halal earnings now, and help the poor people also at the same time. And at the same time, he distributed his time for making ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. And the same, look after the affairs of the state also at the same time. So he did everything he was doing and planned for everything, set time for everything, he had time for everything. He showed how to do time management also. And you know very well that Dawud al-Islam, Allah gave him a very good voice. Make zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you start making zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at that time the mountains should also start trying to make zikr also. And the birds in the sky should stop and come and make zikr with him also. The trees should make zikr also with him. So much of attraction he had in his voice to make zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To show that we could also, when we make zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but that jazba within ourselves, but that urge within ourselves, that enthusiasm within ourselves, make zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you find, for example, in our Kabin, you find this Molana Raipuri rahmatullah alayhi, in the Raipur, you make zikr of Allah so much zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Children go for zikr, say, you see the tree, leaves on the trees also make zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much zikr should make. So from Amir al-Islam, we learn a lot of lessons we learn from them. We learn the stories and incidents what happened to them. We learn a lot of things from them also. For example, this incident came in the Quran was why? Because the Kuffar of Makkah Mukarramah, they made objections on Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That you telling us such things which our mind cannot accept. You telling us the person will die, after Allah will bring back life again, will take account and the person will go to Jannah or Jahannam. How is this possible? With our eyes we are seeing a person dead, put in the grave, after his body gets in the grave, that's finished. There's nothing left of the person. How can they accept the thing then? And that's why they say that the thing which cannot accept, and they put the allegation on Nabi Karim that now he's a liar. He's putting the allegation on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's a madman, he's a magician, because they couldn't understand what he was saying. They couldn't believe it. That's why they speak like that. So Allah ta'ala says, look at Dawud Islam here now. Something but the birds cannot make zikr. Mountains cannot make zikr. Trees cannot make zikr. See with your own eyes now, they are making zikr. See now. Something mind don't accept is reality in front of you now. So now to accept that Allah will bring back life again after, nothing wrong in that. So iron won't become soft in a person's hand. Allah made sure that iron being so soft and made the armor with it also. So the thing which is beyond your understanding, Allah made it possible in front of our eyes. So what's difficult for Allah to bring back after life? So these are the examples that shows in the Quran that whatever Allah Ta'ala said is true and come to reality. What the Nabi teaches you is true and come to reality. You must have yaqeen on that. So if you study the lives of the Amir al-Islam, then our iman will become stronger and stronger and believe in everything what Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala told us. We believe in everything. We believe in trust and confidence we have in that, because we know that Allah Ta'ala will never speak a lie. Allah's promise is not false. It will come to reality always. That is, yaqeen comes within ourselves, then our life will change completely. So here in other words, what to explain here was that must have time management in our lives. Delegate our time for different work, then the work will get done. Like for example, in our schedule, you'll find Allah has made 5 namazes first on us. And 5 namazes not at one time, but at different times. Why? That we do the namaz now, then we do, after Fajr we do work till Zuhur namaz, we can do work now, earn your livelihood, whatever it is. Now you get tired, it is Zuhur namaz now. And recharge your better spiritually, recharge yourself again now. Because when you're interacting with people, your spirituality is going down slowly. So this is Zuhur namaz now, increase spirituality again now. And after that now, do little work again now, the Asr namaz. Then again you get tired now, again recharge yourself again, Asr namaz now. Till Maghrib namaz now, spiritually you are recharged again till Maghrib now. After Maghrib now, till tired now, again namaz Maghrib time now. Have your supper, whatever it is, and before sleeping again recharge yourself again till the morning again. So in that way your spirituality is recharged all the time. And that shows us time management. Do work on a time, all the work will get done. So the Deen teaches us time management is very important. The person has got time management, and that person is always successful in other words. And at the same time, the ni'mat Allah gives you also, there's responsibility of the ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is separate ni'mat according to how Allah says. That's why Allah ta'ala said that you do not give sadaqah, no problem. It is must be zakat. 2.5% was the zakat must give once a year, you must give, not every day or every month also. So that Allah ta'ala is so easy for us. Once you get habituated to giving zakat, it's not easy to give sadaqah also after that also. So have this kindness in your heart for the next human being. It's also part of the teaching of our Shariah also. Now we find our Kabin also, we find these things they have adopted these things within themselves also. They have understood the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the meaning of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So that's how they progress in their lives, they progress, and those things become the means of our guidance also. So sometimes the Tanya Rahmatullah alayhi, what the Shaykh Sahab concerning him say, that Tanya Rahmatullah alayhi, whatever income he had, should make it into 3 parts, should make it. And should utilize according to that, should utilize that part. One part for certified for that. But the Shaykh Sahab himself, his son Mufti Sahab Usman Jamal writes, my father's habit was what? That income comes in 2 ways, he say. One income comes for your effort you make. The work you are doing, whatever you can you remuneration for the work you are getting. There's one income. One income is somebody give you a gift somebody gives you. So without any effort that comes to you. So his habit was when whatever income you get, make his own effort, his own work, whatever you think, for that should take out 1/20th of it should take out and put it one side. And whatever comes to you by a gift without any effort, 1/10 of it you put one side, you put it one side, you put it. And then that money, whenever there's need from there to take part in good projects, should take money from take part from there. So it became easy for him. So they practice according to that. They practice whatever Allah has given us, take out something from there, and the need come for doing some good work, we take part from there. So they taught us, and the Shaykh Sahab said something when the money comes, it has changed to put in that packet. Should make sure she sends somebody to the shop, make change, bring the change and put it inside. She wait for the later time. So wait for some time later. Shaitan will trouble you, and he'll forget after that. Say now I'll do some other time, and then this other time never comes sometimes. So immediately she will put it in the packet, and whenever there's a demand for taking part in some good action, she take money from the pay from the. He had enough money to take part in good projects, in other words. So these are the things that our elders taught us how to look after ourselves and to take part in good work also at the same time. Normally, if we don't have the strategy, then whatever end of the month use the money somewhere here, every day, then you got no time, no money left to let in good projects. You say, I haven't got anything left now. When we have this strategy, then you got money, always you got money to give somebody. Like for example, in Hadith comes, the person got a piece of land, for example, now. He sell that piece of land now. What was that money now? So you get money of land in land again, we'll use it. They'll get barakat in it. So normally what we do, we get money from land now, we use it somewhere else, and money gets finished, and then you'll problem again after that. So that the teaching of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the principle he taught us, if we abide by that, we'll benefit so much, we'll progress so much in our lives, but because you don't understand the system of the Shariat and the teaching of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so we always falling back. The iman gets weak because of that. And to do some good work is always very burdensome on a person, on his nerves. And Shaitan will start troubling after that. See, do it afterwards now. Don't do it now. In which promise Allah, for example, you promise Allah, certain work get done, I'll give so and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the work get done now, what happens? The Shaitan will start whispers in the heart. Don't do it now, do afterwards, give a little bit now, give a little bit afterwards. When that happens, now slowly, a person is deprived doing good work after it. So the Shaitan is always there to deceive us. Our nerves is there always to deceive us. So you got to have the top strategies to not fall in the trap of the nafs and the Shaitan. Sometimes the person makes us a certain deal or a business whatever and says, no, I'll give 10% for example in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or 5% I'll give the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now in his mind he's got what? I'll earn little money, give 10% nothing, I'll do it, no problem. But now whatever, because he made the deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he made the promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah give him barakat in that now. Now he got, for example, 10% works out, for example, works out to 100 rands or 200 rands works out to. So it's very easy to give to pass to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But now Allah gives so much barakat, that 10% work out to 10,000 rands now. Now you think, now how much I give 10,000 rands? What happened to me? That stinginess come, business coming, I'll get poor now. What was I use money somewhere better I use money better places now. Let me give 5,000 rand now. I'll have 5,000 somewhere else. I have another project to attend to. I must make my business flourish, whatever it is. All the thought comes into mind now. And whatever now, that when you made the promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the 10,000, why you want to give 5,000? Allah don't need 5,000 also. So whatever promise speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you must make sure you abide with the promise and if you are firm on that, then Allah's help will come more to you, because now just sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now we have made Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala partner in your business, make sure you just sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and give that much in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Concerning this one incident, somebody writes here, Miyaji Nur Muhammad Sahab Janjani rahmatullah alayh, he was a sheikh from Haji Ibrahim Sahab Mahajir Makki rahmatullah alayh. And our sister reads up to him. Okay. So one day one person came to Miyaji Nur Muhammad Sahab rahmatullah alayh and told him, I got a court case, somebody has taken control of my land, and now the court case is taking place, maybe what I win the court case and they can get my land back to me. So what Miyaji Nur Muhammad Sahab told him, what Haji Imdadullah Sahab is in Thana Bhawan, and he needs some renovation to be done in the masjid and the room to make zikr, whatever it is. Make a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If this deal get done of yours, then you will build that masjid for him and build that room for him there. Say, I'll do it, no problem. So he made a promise to Miyaji Sahab, and now when the court case took place, got very happy now. The court case came in his favor now. He immediately started thinking now, now must build that house there, the room there also, the masjid also, so much money, I'll do half the work, no problem. So then the judge made a decision, half the land will come, half land is disputed land now. So he got very worried. He came to Miyaji and told him, this is what happened. So but it's in your control to get a full land, you spoil the whole thing. What would you do? Right? If you should kept the investment correct, you got the full land to come in your power, in your control. But you had to spoil your intention, so you got half only because of that. So it shows how our intention is, according to Allah Ta'ala, looks after us and deals with us also according to that also. Now we find there's one thing which is called miserliness, stinginess, and one thing is called shuh. I think there's a higher degree than stinginess, miserliness also. Shuh means that person is miser also, but what that is got greed within himself also, and got jealous also within himself. So Shariat explained to us this also. Look, the person have greed and jealousy also with miserliness and stuff. That is very dangerous. The Ummah, prior to our Ummah, Nabi Sallallahu explained that they were involved in this spiritual sickness, because of it they all got destroyed. One is to be stingy. One is to have jealousy also and to have greed also within yourself. That is more worse. And because of that, people are going to fight and quarrel and dispute because of that. I think it gets worse because of that. So that's why it's fine in Hadith also we find many places that Nabi Sallallahu explained to us things of will give success. Things will lead to destruction. From there, many experience, for example, say, have taqwa for yourself, have taqwa in public also, and in the private also, then that will give you success. Whenever you speak, whether in anger, whether you happen to speak the truth always, that will give success, for example. Don't harm anybody with your hands, whatever, it will give success in others. You'll find many things the hardest will explain to us what will give success. At the same time, many things will explain what will give the destructive to you also, will harm you also. From there you'll find find these tools comes in that don't become a miser, stingy person. And that same don't become a person who's got the shoe also. That was miserliness, you have greed and jealousy within yourself also. And don't be a person who only not listen to whatever you say, don't listen to anyone else's suggestion. These things are all means of destruction for a person. So you must be open to take opinion from somebody else and reform yourself. Because whatever I say is right and I don't listen to anybody else, that truths are not correct. So hadith explains all these things. So first we learn all these things and put it into practice, we'll have a very comfortable life. But the problem is we don't pay attention to these things, and if we pay attention also we got no yaqeen after that. So we got to understand it. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Amma man bakhala fastaghna wa kadzdzaba bil husna." Understand? So when the person spends the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he has reservations, becomes stingy, miser, spend path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he tries to falsify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He'll get something in return. So that is that person will go into Jahannam. So you can't say Allah can't fulfill his promise, and you stay behind and don't take part in good work, and expect that you take good work, Allah won't reward you for it. You can't say something like that. So for just such people, Allah will prepare punishment for them. When the person's destruction comes close for a person, then nothing can help. His wealth also won't help him at that time. So a person collect all the wealth that would need, the wealth will help me now, but when destruction comes to him, that wealth won't help him also. First collect a lot of wealth the person collects now. This wealth won't help me at the time of difficult whatever it is. And once that's become, what happens? Everything is gone. That wealth doesn't help me at all. One robbery takes place, that wealth doesn't help me at all. So it's to understand that how the system of Allah works, try and understand the system, work according to the system, don't go against the system, then you are successful. So whatever ni'mat Allah has given to you, utilize it in a proper manner, in the proper place, then you are going to benefit with it. And if you don't utilize the ni'mat in the proper place, how Allah wants to utilize it, then you can means of Allah's displeasure it will become. Okay. So now we're not going to use the money in the right channels. What happens now? That money will go in the wrong channels. It will go now. You don't utilize the money in good work and helping poor people, helping the needy people, building masjid, whatever it is now. Then that money go, that money will go in the wrong place. It will go. Sometimes find that the person is sick now. So pay money in medical bills. Person going to some dispute, quarrels, fees, but the lawyers you got to pay fees. So the money, instead of going there, is spent in this type of things spent now. So, and sometimes the person's children become so out of line, they become. The hard-earned money they use in wrong places. For example, you find in music and all dancing and different parties, whatever it is, use the money in those things, and the hard-earned money used in wrong places. Because you never use the money in the proper channels. And the same thing in the hadith Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you find the person want to go for Hajj, for example, and he has intention to go for Hajj now, and after the thought comes, let me do this little work here, after you are sick, let me get the treatment done, whatever it is. Once the work gets done, I'll go for Hajj. So whatever now, the Hajj gets over also, will come back for Hajj also, and his work will don't get done also at the same time. There was a Nawab Sahab in Hyderabad, he sent a lot of people for Hajj, a lot of people for Hajj. Himself he never go for Hajj. So one person brought his attention to us, said, send so much for Hajj, why don't you go for Hajj also? Say, I can't go alone for Hajj. So what do you say? I'll go with the entourage, go for Hajj. All my workers, everything, I don't want to have difficulty in Hajj, but I will allow Hajj difficulty. So no, take care of it with no problem. So he chartered a flight to take all his workers to go for Hajj now. And just before the flight could leave, he thought of some business deal, and they said they had to go to Delhi for a business deal. So he told the people, I'm going for the business deal, in 2 days I'll be back, no problem. And when the business deal started prolonging, and the time for charter flight to leave, so he told them, I said, no, you go carry on, and I'll come, and another flight will come, no problem. So all of them went in the charter flight for the away. And he carried out the business deal so much, prolonged so much, by the time when he came to Hyderabad, that whole charter flight for people came back already, and they will never get done also. So he made so much cook for Hajj, himself in the cook for Hajj. So it shows that whenever Allah give opportunity, take the opportunity and do good work. Don't delay the good work. After you deprive the good work afterwards also. So a person's feet moves towards helping people, for example, then you keep on benefiting people. But if the foot don't go towards helping people, then the feet will go towards guna after it will go there. So just these are things that we can express to us. Allah the person who has saved himself from the stinginess, miserliness of his nafs, that person will be successful always. So we always give a check of our nafs, which direction our nafs is taking us, then inshallah we won't be in any problem. This hadith says, Jabir from Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, save yourself from oppression of anybody, and the same way don't violate somebody's rights also. Because oppression of this Qiyamah will come in the form of darkness will come. And at the same time stinginess, miserliness, and at the same time greed and jealousy put together. Stay away from this also. This spiritual sickness will destroy many nations before you also. So they had this within themselves. Because of that they went into fighting, went into quarrel, disputes, and they killed many people, got killed because of this spiritual sickness within themselves. And because of this, what people will do, to make what Allah claims haram, to make it halal themselves to make it. So that's a very dangerous thing. So when a person has jealousy and greed within himself, then he accepts the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but Allah made haram, to make that halal all the time, and not dispute over that. And that's a very dangerous thing to do. So we try and see that we look after ourselves in such a manner that this spiritual sickness don't come creep into us. We have stinginess in ourselves, and with greed also and jealousy also in ourselves. That's something very dangerous. That will go overstep the laws of the Shariah and land them into problems. And we find because of this spiritual sickness, what happens? Brother won't fulfill the rights of another brother. Because of this spiritual sickness, a partner won't fulfill the right of next partner also. And because of that, the spirit escalates more and more, and the problem becomes worse and worse it becomes. And the person is not jealous. The person has got greed within himself, has got hatred within himself, then that friendship always increases and gets more stronger and stronger becomes. That partnership in the business increases more and more into it always. But where there is jealousy, where there is hatred, where there is greed, and those things doesn't last long. So that's why